Welcome everybody to our first edition of Black Wall Street Charm City. My name is Jason Johnson.
And it's your boy Ace Still.
All right, so we are here today for Black empowerment. Like I said, our organization is called Black Wall Street Charm City. But the question is, do a lot of you even know what Black Wall Street is? Do you know when Black Wall Street was even created and why it was created? Well, I'm gonna answer that for you. Pretty much, Black Wall Street started in Tulsa, Oklahoma, back in 1905. If a lot of you don't know, I hope that you do know that there was segregation back in that time between the blacks and the whites. The blacks lived in one side of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the whites lived on another side of Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was all over the nation. It wasn't just there. But a few good, smart individuals came together and said, I'm sick and tired of going over into the white community, having to, hustle miles across the other side of town to, purchase my goods and services. So they said, you know what, we'll start to do that in our own city. So 1905, they started to create their own churches, their own doctor's offices, their own pharmacies, their own grocery stores, their own schools, their own churches. They started to create everything. And by them doing that, they were able to circulate the dollar amongst the black community 100 to 200 times, meaning my dollar went to his hand, it went from his hand to the next business, and so on and so forth. So by that happening, it started to create wealth amongst the black community. And, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma was pretty much shut down in 1921. There's a theory that there was a young black brother in the elevator with a white woman, and he touched her inappropriately, and he ran off the elevator, and it stirred up a big uproar amongst the city, which led to massacring an entire city of black folk. You're talking about hundreds and hundreds of black folk being massacred on this day because of a so-called incident like that. But
men, women, and children.
Men, women, and children. Can you just imagine that for a second? Like, we live in America. Now, can you imagine just bombs being dropped on us like we in Afghanistan somewhere because you're black? You know what I mean? Like you dropping bombs on me because I'm black, and this black brother did something to this one white woman. So we all had to suffer because of what y'all say or what you thought happened? No, that's bullshit. What I believe happened, whatever money that you generate, that's public information. So can you imagine back in the 1920s, the governor, for say, in the cities looking at these numbers that is coming out of the black community? You talk about millions of dollars now. You're making millions of dollars as a black man and as a black woman back in that time. They're gonna hate. Quite frankly, they were just haters. And I believe they destroyed the Black Wall Street because they were haters. That's what it boils down to. But Black Wall Street wasn't in just Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was other cities across America that had good financial districts inside the black community where they had hundreds of businesses. Like we had 4th Ave in Birmingham, Alabama, Jackson Ward in Richmond, Virginia, the Haiti community in Durham, North Carolina. And if you ever seen the movie Rosewood before, that's based off a true story. That's it shows kind of exactly what happened with Black Wall Street. They came through, started killing everybody, burning stuff down, and they took it from there and went real extreme with it. But what most people don't understand is that, like, post Civil War, after 1865, after Lincoln got assassinated, they came up with a Reconstruction plan.
Mm-hmm.
And this Reconstruction plan was to connect slaves back with their families, build churches, build schools to educate them, and protect them. They had the National Guard. They turned 6 southern states into military states.
Okay.
And that's what they was protecting the blacks down there. And that lasted for a good 7 years. And surprisingly, the Republicans was the one who kept it in office until a Democrat, Grover Cleveland, got into office. and he stripped it all away. He said, you know what, I'm taking it all back. But
what they call that, Indian givers, right?
yeah. So like,
was it really the Indians being the Indian givers? I don't think so.
right. So right after the Reconstruction period, you had the KKK. They got developed because they didn't want blacks to prosper. And that was their whole goal. They felt like blacks were slaves and they needed to be slaves. So they did everything in their power to destroy the black community and Republicans. White Republicans too. They tortured white Republicans and blacks down south.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you were a white Republican. that must have meant you were for the people.
Yeah. And so the South, they had developed black codes which restricted free blacks from doing certain things. And if you ever heard of Rogue and Vagabond before, that's how that law got created. You know, if you walk around, you don't have your ID on you, you get arrested. That's what was happening to slaves. If you was walking around and you had nowhere to go, they was going to arrest you.
And
they
then
send you back to they send you back to a plantation. You work your debt off, and then you free again.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
The plantation was the prison is the new plantation. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, Black Wall Street, Charm City. Why we created Black Wall Street, Charm City is to empower the black businesses to give to the aspiring entrepreneur and give awareness of economic business growth, allow the entrepreneur to understand the network of connections and how powerful it is, the teaching of financial literacy, the understanding of investing and how to create wealth, not only amongst your individual self, but as a unit, as a community of black businesses. You know, we're in a time and a place where we need to unite as black-owned businesses in order to thrive. You know, what's our buying power?
$1.2 trillion.
$1.2 trillion. We have a buying power of $1.2 trillion. Can you just imagine of having just a quarter of that fluctuating through our city? Just a quarter of that. You know what I mean? But what did they say a lot of black folk do with their money?
Buy it on clothes.
Buy on clothes. You know
Clothes
what I mean?
and cars.
Y'all buying Gucci. You know what I'm saying? Where they got the the red lips. You know, with the black hoodie. You know.
Black people buy more Mercedes Benzes than rich people do.
Wow.
But they number one customer.
They use them joints and overseas as taxi cabs.
Exactly. That's why they start building them over here. The new Benzes is cheap. They use cheap materials. They know who they're going to.
That's wild. You know what I'm saying? But do a lot of you even understand what money is? You know, like what is money? What is the flow of money? Why was it even created? Or what is the flow of money?
Yeah. So like in ordinary to exchange with someone, you before back in BC time, it was the barter system.
Right.
If you had 3 carrots and the other person they got 3 onions, you trade. You feel
right? Right.
And then when you start bringing coins and stuff into play, they start making that a currency. But the United States, before the Federal Reserve, they were backed off of the gold that the United States had. So if a bank had $1 million worth of gold, they would issue $1 million worth of paper certificates. And so that can only be spent $1 million.
Right.
So it'll go out in loans and it'll go out to people, businesses, they'll trade with each other. Only thing is you really couldn't trade with the world because it's the United States, the US currency that's only backed off that resource. And if you're trying to trade with another country, it's like you had to actually trade the resource. So the Federal Reserve, the people behind it, they came in and said, look, y'all give us y'all gold in bonds, we'll purchase them for y'all. And we'll give you infinite number of money. And so it's like they came up with like a banking pyramid. My bad. We're gonna have to go back and
Well, let's start from
All right,
banking pyramid.
All right, so we got the banking pyramid, and it's like at the bottom you have people and all living things, and over top of the people you have the government. Over top of the government you have corporations. Over top of the corporations you have the national banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, HBSC.
Right.
And over top of the national banks you have the central bank. And over top of the central bank you have the World Bank. And over top of the World Bank you have the Central Bank of Central Banks, which is considered the Bank of International Settlements.
Did y'all know that? You know, that's a lot. So
the Bank of International Settlements is the main bank of the world for the banks of all the banks all across the world.
who runs that?
The Rothschilds.
The Rothschilds. Y'all know him? That's Mr. Burns off of The Simpsons.
I was just telling somebody that yesterday. Like, yo, it's crazy. They look just alike. But surprisingly, the only countries that don't have a Rothschild central bank is Iran, North Korea, and Cuba.
And what are they moving off? Are they moving off of copper and gold and silver?
Yeah, their own resources.
And that's
why they can't trade with the rest of the world. You feel me? But
And you see, that's like what he said. That's powerful. Do a lot of you understand that you can get into the investment market, the stock market, and you can trade these type of commodities, and you can actually receive these type of commodities. You can use these commodities as leverage to trade for other commodities or other resources. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that, but that is a part of why we have created Black Wall Street Charm City, to give that knowledge and that clarity and understanding of how you can take a centralized system that went from gold to a gold certificate to a gold certificate that was backed by the gold to a piece of paper that's not backed by anything, to being able to say, well, if it's not backed by anything, but it still has value because they say it has value, how can you capitalize on your dollar? How do you create wealth with what it is that you have, not only for yourself, but amongst Black businesses, you know? Last week, our last meeting, we started out with business entities. There are a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that come into business and, you know, they don't even know how to structure their business. They don't know where to get the funds and the money. So our focus is on creating a business entity and how to acquire funds for either a startup. If you're, you know, there's a lot of real estate investors out here. If you're an investor, you know, how you can acquire money for your investment deals. Or if you're a business looking to, you know, expand to a new level, you know, how to get those funds and what's needed to get those funds. Well, in a nutshell, there were pretty much three principles that were given. And one of them was, you know, if you don't have the right advisors surrounding you or the right advisor for your industry, you need to go get the right advisor. You need that advisor and you need that mentor, and you need to incorporate them in your business plan. Number two, you need to have pretty much a top-notch accountant that's in the area. Either they're already established in your industry, you're gonna grab hold of them, or you get a reference from somebody. But you need an accountant that's, you know, not to throw no shade, but you know, nobody that's just starting out. You know, nobody that's just getting their feet wet and they're coming from another company. You want someone who's been in business as a CPA or use a company name that is established. That you can put into your business plan. Those are two components to your business plan. Another thing is you need to properly structure your business plan. You know?
Yeah, and like with structuring your business plan, you know, your first impression is your last impression. So when you hand your plan over to an investor, it needs to catch them. Like first page needs to hit them, smack them straight in the face. So they'll be like, "Oh, all right, boom, I'm with this." And you know, it can't be no business plan 2 to 3 pages. I've seen that a lot, and it's like it's really not no detail in it. Like you have to have your financial plan, how and where you're going to get the money from, whether it's through crowdfunding, whether it's personal funding, other investors that you might have, you know, back end investors and stuff that, you know, help you. You got to have your goals and objectives, which direction your business is headed into. Your SWOT analysis, you know, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, your market that you're dealing with, the industry that you're in. All of those are key components of a business plan and structuring it right.
That's deep. a lot of entrepreneurs don't necessarily have a business plan. You know, they're the entrepreneurs that are out here and they just have a hustle mentality. You know, I know a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they have no business plan, but they have a plan. A plan not written down is a plan to fail. You know, they have that plan written down, but it's not structured in a business plan where they can say, you know, this is the end result this year for my business. And 3 years from now, this is the end result for that business. And 5 years from now, that is the end result for that business. That is what the loan officer is looking for. And, you know, another really big component is the relationships that you're able to build with these loan officers. You know, you have to get out to your networking events. You know, your network is your net worth. So if you're not going to meetup.com and looking for every meetup that's coming around in your area, or if you're not on Facebook trying to engage at every event that might be relevant to business, you need to take action on it. You know?
I hate when people say like, "Oh, I don't need that. Like, it's just gonna come to me. Like, I know like someone's gonna see." No, that's not how life works. If you keep waiting for it, it's never gonna happen. You're just gonna keep waiting until you die.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
You feel me? Like, you have to get out there. People have to know who you are. Like, 100%. There's no way it's just not gonna happen. Someone just come up to you and be like, "Oh, what do you do? Oh, I like it. Let me give you $1 million."
100%.
No, it don't work like that. Like
100%, man. You know, Facebook and Instagram, it is a great platform for networking. You know, I'm not saying that doesn't work at all, because, you know, I've acquired a lot of business off of Facebook and Instagram. You know, the marketing that you can do on Facebook and Instagram and any other social media platform is extraordinary well. But a lot of people like that peer-to-peer action. They like that, "Hey, how you doing today, sir?" You know, they like to see you in person. They like to see your aura and how you present yourself in person. Because a lot of times people on Facebook and Instagram, they get that facade of who they want to be, but they're not that actual individual. You know, you want to see those people in person and talk to them and get a understanding of their business and, you know, maybe their life story. You know, people just like to talk and ramble about who they used to be. And sometimes that gives you an idea of how you can service them as a customer, client, or even a business partner. You know, that's just how things work. You know, it is a need in the Black community for us to work together. You know, as you can see now, you have Diddy, you have Jay-Z,
T.I.
you got T.I. You know, you got all these people, celebrities that understand that we need to build together. You know, like the incident with Gucci in the sweater. You know, after that happened, T.I.'s like, "Man, everybody going into Gucci, but did y'all know about all these other Black-owned businesses out here that have upscale clothes and book bags and sweaters without red lips on them?" You know what I mean? It's about camaraderie. You know, the Asians do it. They're doing it in our community, on the corner stores and the buildings that they own and the beauty supply stores that they have. You know, why don't we own the corner stores anymore? You know, it used to be the mom and pop shops that was owned by Black-owned businesses, but they're not around anymore. The Asians own them now.
It's your hood, but you don't own nothing in it.
Your hood and you don't own nothing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people repping them, and, you know, they don't even own the corner that they standing on.
Right, and it's like, I mean, if you're gonna live there, you know, I mean, like I say all the time, like, you know, you got it's a lot of Black females out here doing hair. Like, they know about hair. Like, why don't they open up a beauty supply store?
That's right.
Take the Asians out, because it's like the Asians, like, once you give them your money, you know, say for example, a beauty supply store on North Avenue, that Asian lives in Owings Mills.
Yup, Timonium.
You know? And so the money that you put into their pockets, when they come back home and, you know, they spend that, they send their kids to school, and then, you know, the property taxes that they pay on their house is what goes to the funding for the schools. So that's what keeps the lights on. That's what pays the principal. That's what pays the janitors.
Wow.
You feel me? So that's why, you know, if you have an area of more renters, you'll have an area of low quality schools.
True.
So it's like we put our money into these businesses so they kids can prosper, while our kids just keep on living in despair.
That's right. That's facts. That's facts. You know, the Asians are doing it. The Jewish community is doing it. And for those of you that are in the Baltimore area, you see it. You know, Park Heights Avenue up into, you know, the crossroads at Northern Parkway. The Jews own all that. They walk up and down the street all day. They own the entire block. Pikesville, they own the entire block. They own the buildings. They own the stores. you know, and majority of folks are leasing from them, but they have ownership. You know, I've come to realize that we fail as entrepreneurs and black businesses because we didn't have that knowledge and that clarity and understanding of what it takes to create wealth amongst each other.
I hear a lot of people always say like, "Oh, why does when foreigners come over here, the government give them grants to start businesses and stuff?" And it's like, government don't give out grants to start businesses, like a profit. If it's non-profit, yeah, but
Right.
a for-profit business, the government don't give out grants. Like,
So that means they need to put a business plan together.
right, you know, and so it's like they, you know, people be jealous about, you know, Arabs, Indians, Asians when they have they, you know, subways or whatever, and it's like you can do the same thing too. You feel me? But it starts with your mind.
And they're passing that information back.
Yeah, like the reason why like he was just saying about like, you know, the Jewish community, like they teach their kids about money.
That's absolutely right.
The face value of money. You feel me? Like example, if you want to go buy a pair of Jordans and you make $20 an hour, you ask yourself, you feel me, before you go, is 10 hours of your time really worth a pair of shoes?
Where you say you can invest that into the shoe company. You know, invest that into the shoe company and let the dividends off of that double, and then take something out and then order your shoes offline. We're in the e-commerce world.
I had this Jewish kid I know. He told me growing up, they had a sign over his wash and dry, 25 cents to wash, 50 cents to dry. And it wasn't that they was trying to take the money from the kids.
Mm-hmm.
They was just trying to teach them about money. That's how his household was, and how most Jewish households or Asian households are. They start teaching their kids about money at a young age. The money that we're taught in most black households is spend.
Right.
You feel me? And that's why we live how we live.
And they say, get a good education, get a good job, and save for retirement, for you to live off of 60% of what it is that you were making in the first place, just to retire and have to be struggling to get by.
That's if you get it all.
You know
if
what I mean?
The market don't crash.
You know, I believe it's your duty, responsibility, and obligation to take it to the next level, to not let the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors go to shame because everybody's so caught up in not wanting to propel themselves, but they want to be the next, you know what I'm saying, you know, flies brother, flies sister on, you know what I'm saying, hitting the club or whatever the case may be and blowing your money. We have a $1.2 trillion buying power, and it needs to be utilized in the right way, you know. Next month, our next meetup will be catered to the cosmetology industry. You know, we want our cosmetologists to understand how to capitalize in your industry. Like you were saying, if you have you're a beautician, you're a barber, you know, if you have access to black products that you can use or natural products, why not open up a store, your own beauty supply store to sell these products out of? You know, you see a lot of people running around selling weave, you know, placement. It's nothing wrong with that because it's a hustle. I'm just saying there's a way to capitalize on it so that you can really benefit on an industry that's $1 billion industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So next month we have some guest speakers that'll be coming out, and you know, some of these speakers, they have their own suites. You know, a lot of people have salons where they have suites and, you know, they're leasing suites. Well, why won't you be the individual that has your own suites and you work out of one and everybody else is working out of the others? We have some individuals coming out and they own their own shops. We have some individuals coming out and they are established stylists. You know, it takes time to build the craft. But if you don't have the proper guidance, advisors, and mentors surrounding you to give you guidance and telling you the type of books you should be reading or the type of man hours you should be putting into building your craft, how will you grow? How will you capitalize in your industry and create wealth for yourself? How will you continue to build something that you can pass down to your children? You know, I've seen barbers having their children in the shop, teaching them how to cut at a young age. You know, that's a skill set that you can pass down. That's how you create wealth. Because not only are you passing down a skill set, but you're building a brand, you're building a business that you say, all right, well, you're at a certain level now. I can pass this down to you. You know, your skill set is up there. You know, I've advised you for years. Now you know when you're making money off of cutting hair, how to invest it. Now that you're making money off of everybody off of these suites, how to take the money and recycle it into other real estate. You know, it's different avenues. You know, everybody doesn't know. A lot of people do know, but
and that's why Black Wall Street is here.
That's why we're
inform
here.
you and guide you onto the right path. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let us know who you are. You know, down in the comments, let us know who you are. Let us know if you're a startup. Let us know if you know you're an established business and you like what it is that we're doing, and you want to link up with us to see how we can benefit the community together, because this is a team effort. You know, the end goal with Black Wall Street Charm City. You know, we look to be in the community near you. You know, not necessarily saying what community, but we look to be in the community near you, where we can establish community centers for our youth to come and get this type of information that they're not getting in school, because the school system is horrible. You know, I'm one of those folks that say, what am I in school for? To learn. Let me tell you, I can tell you what I learned in high school. Look for the counterexample. I don't know what it means, but I learned it in geometry class. I learned about the Tet Offensive in history class, and then you have your common English stuff that you learn. But I didn't really learn a lot of
school is preparing people to be workers.
Pretty much
set up like that. You wake up early in the morning. You get off at a certain time. You 100%. Get a lunch break. It's preparing you to be a worker. Like that's simple as that. And like I even say, like public school prepares kids to be workers.
Mm-hmm.
Private school prepares the kids to be the managers.
Mm. That's
for
I
real.
like that. Right. I like that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, what is college preparing for? So you got the private schools preparing to be managers. What's the college?
Well,
for?
it's kind of the same because you got public universities and the private universities.
Oh.
So the people that went to private school, they go to a private university.
Okay.
So it's just bigger level.
Those are the Yales and the Harvards.
Or Stevenson, that's a private university.
Okay.
And because most of the like the kids that went to like Garrison Forest and McDonough, they all go to private universities. Stevenson, Elon, St. John in New York, like they all private universities, and they're preparing them to be workers. Managers of the workers. Wow. That's going to the public universities, state schools.
That's madness.
And I can just say this from because I went to Stevenson and I went to a state university, and it's like I can see the difference in like the way that they teach.
Right.
It's like they teaching us some big shit, some major stuff. Like,
yeah.
Like they ain't talking about that UMBC like what's going on here? That's when I start realizing like, hey, it's all a game. You just gotta play it well.
Sorry, you gotta play it well. So how will you play? Let us know in the comments below. If you need help with trying to figure out what direction to go in your business, let us know. We'll reach out to you and see how we can connect you with the right individuals who can give you the right insight and guidance. If you are looking to, properly set up your business or business plan or, whatever the case may be, let us know in the comments of how we can assist and help you, and leave your email, contact information, and we'll reach out to you to see how we can better assist you. If you're not already following us, follow us on Instagram at the Black Wall Street Charm City. Black Wall Street _ Charm City. That's Black Wall Street _ Charm City. Follow us on IG. Definitely follow us on meetup.com so you can be updated on the upcoming events that we have going on. Meetup.com. You can find us at Black Wall Street Charm City. Like I said, the month of March is catering to the cosmetology field. So if you're interested in cosmetology, or even if you're a stylist, because I believe designers and stylists are kind of in the same category.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in that field, keep up with us so you can know of the meetup that's coming up, because we're coming to a city in the area near you, and it will be very beneficial for you to come out and network and learn. Network
we gotta do it
and
together.
learn. That's right.
In order for this to work, we gotta do it together. Me, you, and you.
Absolutely.
You,
Absolutely.
the person behind that screen watching now, you.
Facts.
We need you. Come on, let's do it.
100%, 100%. So, until next time, we appreciate you for joining us today, and be blessed, stay successful, and
keep going.
Keep going and keep the grind.